But we begin with the Guardians, who get José Ramírez back. We'll spend more time specifically on Jose and what he's going to mean going forward to the lineup. Although, Jason, he did beat the timeline once again.
Did he?
Yeah, I mean,
What was it? Well, I thought we said right after the All-Star break. You and I both said.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Yeah.
But that was I think it was a little quicker than the traditional recovery.
I mean, I think we are entitled to a victory lap over saying there was no need to panic.
Yes.
Everybody's losing their minds when you left, so you got to make a trade. I'm like, why?
No.
Why?
Well, they got to make a trade, but not because Jose was hurt.
I mean, look, he's back, and they're exactly where they were. They were basically a 500 team without him, which is what you want to do. Tread water. Tread water while your best player's out.
Yeah, that's
now they've had 2 trade deadline acquisitions, José Ramírez and Steven Kwan.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's get to Steven Kwan. Like I said, we'll spend more time on José Ramírez. Guardians get smoked yesterday. I think Gata is a little strong, but I really want them to win today because you need to take this series from Minnesota.
Yeah.
You don't want to end up splitting the series after winning the first 2. But, Zach, I'll start with you. Jason mentioned it briefly. Steven Kwan, who was having just as bad a season as any player in baseball for the first 3 months, is absolutely sizzling hot. You see in the last 30 days here, which goes right to starting the end of June. He's batting .360 through 8. The OPS is .922, which obviously for a guy with very little power, and you can see only has 6 extra base hits.
That's absurd.
To have an OPS that high means he's getting on base at a ridiculous rate here. So how confident are you that this is going to continue the rest? Maybe not this level, but that he's going to be more like himself the rest of the year?
I'm fairly confident because I think even going back to late June, we saw better at bats, right?
Yeah.
Those classic Kwan at bats. And he's hard to get out. And when he can hit leadoff and do that, see those 11 pitch at bats and get on base, then obviously he's the engine. So, look, if you're right. I think today is a big game. But last night was a bad game. It was really a bad 2 innings. They still scored 6 runs. It's all about the offense with this team. And when Steven Kwan is hitting, he's a part of that. So Jose back, Kwan back, other guys continuing to hit. I think Manzardo finally had an extra base hit last night for the first time.
Hit a home run?
So first time in multiple weeks.
Yeah.
So, again, I think today is a big game, big energy and a chance to take 3 out of 4 from a division rival. But overall, Kwan being a part of it, I think you feel good about where they are. I still agree with you. They need to make a trade. They can't sit and say where they are. But overall, I think you have to feel good about what you've seen of late.
Jason.
He's over 400 in July. Now, again, small sample size, but, how many times we say good hitters in the prime of their career, rarely do they forget how to hit.
Right.
Like, eventually this was going to turn.
Yes.
I still like him at the bottom of the order. I like Bazzana in the leadoff spot. I wish they had just left him.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it now. They're not going to move him now.
No, he's clearly they've reinstalled him as the leadoff hitter. I kind of like having Travis up there and having Kwan at the bottom of the lineup, and you're almost having 2 leadoff hitters back to back. Great speed on the bases when you turn the lineup over and all that stuff. But regardless, it's great. Obviously that he looks like himself again at the plate. He's not chasing some of the pitches that he was early in the year. I have no idea what was going on. I don't know that he has an explanation for it necessarily. But obviously, if this keeps trending in the right direction, do they still need to make a move? Yes, they need to make a move. But there was a point not that long ago where we were talking about, do they have to non-tender him? Can you count on him in the playoffs? Do you need to fill that spot for October? And if this keeps up, clearly, I think you feel good about where he is on this team moving forward.
Yeah, we're all in agreement here. Guys go through slumps. It happens. It's part of baseball. But his slump was so long and so bad that it just didn't make any sense. And he's talked about some of the struggles he's had in his younger years, not feeling like he belonged at times. And, you just wonder if he was going through something personally or mentally that affected him, and maybe that cleared up, or maybe with help, he found a way through it. Whatever it is, as you guys have said already, he looks like himself. This is the guy we've seen play for most of his Guardians career. And it's not like a Manzardo situation where it was only 1 year and you're like, okay, well, maybe he overachieved. And we'll get to that. But Kwan's been good. his whole career here until the first half of this season.
Yeah.
Not that he's never had a bad month, but he's never had a stretch like this.
Yeah. Well, the bat speed was way down, which makes me
Yeah.
wonder if there was some sort of injury, some sort of ailment.
Yeah.
And you're right. Everybody, the greatest hitters have an 0 for 20 week.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
They have a 1 for 30 stretch,
Yes.
and they overcome it. His was a little more prolonged than that.
Yeah.
It was frustrating. And it was way out. It was extra frustrating because it was way out of the norm. So
Yeah.
you wonder if there was something physical, and then
Yeah.
that combined with something mental, and it just led to a longer slump than expected.
Zach wrote something today, Zach Meisel at our place, about Kwan's approach. And a few weeks ago, he met with the hitting coaches, and they wanted him to get back to sort of the 2022 version of him, of just sort of slapping the ball all over the place. They sort of felt like he became a little bit too passive at the plate. And pitchers, he'd fall behind in the count, and then pitchers would attack the outside part of the zone, and he could never get anything inside the pole.
Yeah.
And that's one little alteration that they've made, is being a little bit more aggressive earlier in counts. And and clearly whatever they've adjusted, whatever dials they've adjusted is working.
Yeah. You know, there's a level, I would think, that Steven Kwan, maybe this factored in to what you're saying there with what he was doing. There's a level of pressure on all players in the major leagues to hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way baseball is, because guys in this day and age that are singles hitters or even doubles, they don't get paid big money.
And stolen bases don't get big contracts.
No, they don't. Here's the reality that Steven Kwan's got to deal with. He is never getting a massive contract because he is not a power hitter. He's never going to be a power hitter. And if he's trying to be, it's just going to screw up what he is good at. But he could have a good, long career and make good, solid money being an elite singles guy. Yeah. Fine. And that's what he's capable of.
Right. To that point, but like he's had a great career here doing that, right?
Yes.
And the expectation, because he was so consistently good at slapping at the ball, at working deep into counts, that all of a sudden it was just such an extreme outlier. So right, he had made his career on being a contact hitter, on being an outstanding defensive player. It was just, especially on this team in that stretch, it was like, oh boy, this offense is really real. And a guy who's consistently giving you something and let the guys knock him in was giving you nothing for a long time.
And yes, this team is power deficient, but it's not on Kwan to fix that.
No.
He's got to. You talked. We'll talk about it later when we were at the John Fanta's broadcasting camp yesterday, and Jason said something that had to do more with broadcasting than baseball, but it applies here. Stay in your lane. That's a line you used a couple of times. Steven Kwan's got to stay in his lane.
Yeah.
And if he just hits the way he's capable, the way he has been, he'll hit a few homers. He'll run into a few. It's fine. Not everybody's got to be a power hitter. And if that means you make 12 or 15 million a year instead of 25, 30, you'll be fine, Steven. You'll be fine. You're a smart guy. You're a good talent. There's no reason you can't be a really good baseball player for another decade. Do your thing. Stick with your thing. I think he's been a very good hitter, and he could be like a better fielding Luis Arraez. Like, Luis Arraez is a better hitter than Steven Kwan.
Yeah.
He's done it longer. He's been more consistent. But there's no reason he can't be a better fielding version of Luis Arraez.
Yeah.
And yes, you're never going to get the biggest money doing that, but he's not capable of hitting 30 home runs.
And the other part of it is once he leaves arbitration, I mean, Arraez has been on 4 teams in 4 years?
Yeah.
That may wind up being Steven Kwan's fate.
It could, but because he's much better defensively, I'm not sure it will be. But even if it is, so what?
Yeah,
you know,
you just have to adjust to it.
Exactly.
If that's
he can make a good living in Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah.
For a number of years, being what he is.
I mean, what's Arraez made? Arraez is making what, about $12 million a year? And he 12, 14 million a year,
something like that. I don't know off the top of my head, but
3 or 4 years.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah,
he's going to be fine. And if he
Luis Arraez making $12 million this year.
Yeah.
What's he made his career? Do you have it?
I could pull it up. Career earnings $60 million.
Yeah, and Kwan,
and he's got a long ways to go too.
And Kwan might make even more because he's a better fielder. I know it's left field where he's special, so you're not going to get that big a boost for that. But if he can get to the hitting level of Arraez, he'll do fine for himself. Yeah. And I think he's completely capable of that. And if he stays in his lane and does that, he should be fine. And I think in the bigger picture here, right, with the development of Bazzana and DeLauder, the next step taken by Brian Rocchio, and it's clear he's taken that next step. He's consistently done it the whole year so far. And with Jose coming back from injury, hopefully he gets back to being Jose, or at least close to Jose. It wasn't terrible before the injury, but he was just above average, and we're used to a lot better than that. If Kwan plays like he's capable of, and hopefully Manzardo too, then you feel good about those 6. You live with the catching situation. It's been a little better offensively than we would have thought, but it is what it is. And then you got to deal with 2 spots, okay? I can live with 1 platoon in the other 2 spots. You got to get a legit hitter to fill the other one. Whether that's an outfield spot or if you're ready to move on from Hoskins, I don't know, as the DH/first baseman option, whatever it is, depending on who you can get, you got to get 1 legitimate bat. In a perfect world, they'd get a second bat that's at least a good platoon guy, and then 1 good relief pitcher. I'm not even going to ask for the starting pitcher anymore. I'll live with what you got, even though I'm worried if there's any injuries, it's a big problem. I think that's what they need to do. We'll see. We got 10 days.
I still want the bat.
That's got to be the first.
You and I have
priority.
been in complete agreement on this for months. They still need a bat. So we'd love to see an arm and a bat, specifically in the bullpen.
Yeah.
And I do think they'll be shopping like everyone else. I think this stare down is going to end to an extent as we keep crawling closer and closer, right? We're 10 days out now from the deadline.
10 days. 6 p.m. on August 3rd.
Yeah. So I still think they need a bat because the hottest team wins, and they can get hot if they add another bat.
Yeah.
And they get, obviously these guys coming back, Kwan coming back from whatever was on him, and now Jose coming back is a big part of it. But I don't want to see him sit on their hands. I want to see him get a bat.
No.
I would caution on the Jose thing, like these hamate injuries.
Yeah.
Even when you're back, you're not really back.
Well, especially the power. That's usually where it affects you the most.
He's got time, though.
Usually it's when you have those injuries, a lot of times it impacts you for the entire season.
Sure.
Yeah. Listen.
Not to say he's not going to hit another home run this year, but he wasn't having a great year by his standards to begin with.
Sure. They need him to be. I would take just Jose being good the rest of the year. Even if he's not a superstar the rest of the year, just be good.
Yeah.
Just be good. And I think even with the coming back from the injury, he's capable of that. Go ahead, Mike.
You mentioned earlier in the topic that it's not a must-win for the Guardians, but you really like to see them win to get the series win.
Yeah,
Minnesota.
it's really hard to say a must-win in July. But
no, and I'm not putting it on there, but it's a good pitching matchup. It's Gavin Williams, Taj Bradley. For anyone who's going to the game today, it's a 1:10 first pitch at Progressive Field Bowl. Give the good people out there a little scouting report on what they'll see in the pitching matchup.
Well, Taj Bradley's had a tremendous season for Minnesota. He's one of the big reasons why they've been much more competitive than we all expected them to be. I mean, I thought the Twins would be a 90-loss team this year, and I still think they'll kind of come apart at some point, but they're not going to lose 90 games.
No.
They're not going to be as bad as I thought, and he's done a really good job. You look at his strikeout numbers, Gavin Williams' strikeout numbers are crazy, but 124 through 107 innings, I mean, that's really good. And a whip of 125, it's okay.
He still has command issues some nights.
Right, but he's done a very good job for them.
He's been terrific.
He's been really good. So, and there's no excuse for Gavin Williams to have a 4 ERA.
Yeah.
He's been a big disappointment, really off and on for about 6 weeks. He's had it's like he's back to, the early part of his career, which he's still in the early part, he'd be like 1 start great, 1 start terrible. And then from the middle of last year through early May this year, he seemed to really be consistently good almost every start. And now for the last 2 months, he's kind of been back to what he was, which is like he can be great at times and then he can be shaky at times. He's got to be more consistent. Early in the year, he was going 6-7 innings pretty much every start. And in the last 2 months, he's not. I think only 2 or 3 of his last 10 starts, he's gone even 6 innings. So we need more consistency from him. I still believe, and obviously he hasn't been their best pitcher, Parker Messick has, but I still believe, and I've felt this way for a few years, he's their most talented pitcher, and he's got to be more consistent. And, it starts today. Let's go. You're supposed to be the ace of the staff.
Yeah.
You pitched on opening day. Let's go. Get it done. You win this game, you take 3 out of 4 from the Twins. That's what they need to do.
Bobby pitched opening day.
Oh, Bobby pitched opening. That's right. Well, it should have been Gavin Williams. It's better.
It will be next year.
Yeah,
it will be next year.
Well, we'll see.
If there
I
is
don't know.
next
It might be
year.
Messick the way he's pitched
If there is the next year, I think it'll be Gavin.
Oh, yeah, that's really not good.